am artist-writer, comic book creator Michael S Garner, and today I'm doing a review of Supergirl Season 3, Episode 1. Yes, I am back to it. I was kind of upset with the end of last season, but I'm kind of happy with this season. First of all, we start off with a grumpy Supergirl. Who would have known? She's grumpy because Mono left her. Well, they made a choice. She made a very hard choice to have Mono leave the planet Earth because of what was going on, because he would have died anyway. So if you saw last season, you know what happened. I actually like Grumpy Supergirl. I think that they did a good job of that. And I think Melissa Benoist did a very good job of that, conveying the fact that she was going through all this and that she was just trying to work through it by being in isolation. One of the big things I liked about last season is that what they improved from season 1 was that they had a little bit more of an artistic factor into it, and they actually, in season 1 they took a lot of things from the comic books and they put them in the TV series and certain homages to certain things that had happened in past Superman things. But this time, the thing that I really like is that they had this one scene where you see Supergirl floating over the city, and that is actually from Superman Returns, when Superman was floating over the Earth and he was basically just concentrating and trying to hear the danger that was going on on the planet Earth. And once he heard something, a siren or something like that, or whatever it may be, he went down to it and stopped it right away. And it was just cool. I thought the special effects were really good. The lighting was really good, just to see the camera revolve around her. It made you feel like you're in a comic book and like you were in a movie. Oh, Bloodsport. My big complaint about this series is that I still have this complaint, is that give Supergirl some of her own original villains, or at least take the ones that are in a comic book. Thank God. I'll talk about this later, but the villain, the main villain of the season seems to be somebody who is from a Supergirl comic book and is not taken from a Superman comic book. But the villain for this episode, the main villain other than, what's his name from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., is Bloodsport. In Bloodsport, some people might not know, but John Burns did a version of Bloodsport back in 1987. Bloodsport was an African-American character who was basically a little off, but he was teleporting all these weapons to himself. And it seemed like he was creating the weapons until Superman figured out that he was actually teleporting the weapons. He thought that he was physically creating them like a Green Lantern, but it was just him teleporting the weapons to himself, and he was mad about something. I can't even remember what it was, and I didn't do the research just to find out exactly what it was again. It had been so long since I'd read that book. But they reintroduced Bloodsport later in the 90s after Superman had died and came back, and he had the long hair and everything like that people were talking about for the Justice League movie. When he came back, he fought another version of Bloodsport, who was basically, there's no other way to put it, he was kind of KKK Bloodsport. He was the exact opposite of the other Bloodsport, but he was doing the same thing, where he teleported all these futuristic weapons to himself within seconds to fight Superman. And I can't remember how that ended. It was an okay comic book, but whatever. But once again, we got a Supergirl episode that has basically another Superman villain, and they're not making up anything for her. But I guess it did a good job, whatever. He really didn't do too much in this episode. I was a little iffy on Alex and Maggie's little marriage thing that went on at the end of last season, because it kind of came out of left field. Well, it didn't come out of left field, but it was just the fact that now they're going to get married after being together for a season? Okay, whatever. But it was really funny to see Alex say that, oh, we're going to have a big gay marriage, the biggest gay marriage in National City. That was the one thing I really had to laugh about when she said, she lifted a damn submarine. That was the thing that was shooting at National City. I keep flipping this damn thing around because for some reason it keeps flipping around on me. I guess I got the chain on wrong, but I just want to wear my Superman dog tag. The fact that Supergirl actually lifted a whole submarine out of the ocean, I love those scenes when you actually see her at full power, full Superman power, Supergirl power, whatever you want to call it. That was great. Another thing about Alex and Martian Manhunter, they had a scene where they were talking together, and she basically was going to ask she was basically going to ask Martian Manhunter if he could walk her down the aisle in her wedding, and they both started to cry, and it was in the middle of their base. So she's like, no, you can't cry, you can't let everybody know that we can actually cry. That was funny. That was a good line. And I think that the comedic aspect of Alex is really coming out this season, and they're doing a really good job of that. And of course, we got the season villain, which seems to be a mother of a child. And the villain, it's come from the comic book, and like I said, this is actually a Supergirl villain, which is that makes me kind of happy. In a recent 52 Supergirl comic book, sorry, sweating a little hot here. In a recent Supergirl comic book, there was a character called Rain. She was from outer space. She was this warrior woman, but she's a world breaker. Like, she takes apart worlds. And that is a big villain for Supergirl to fight. I don't know how they're going to tie this in, why this mother is actually Rain, or maybe she's actually, I don't know, maybe she's channeling Rain. I'm not too sure what happened, but at the end of the episode, we did get to see the ship that flew from the last season, the end of last season, at the exact same time that Supergirl and Superman flew to Earth from Krypton. We got to see on another side of Krypton, an evil version, whatever, flying to the planet Earth, and that's assumption that's Rain, and I'm assuming that the mother is Rain, or she's channeling the power of Rain into her. I'm not too sure. I'm not going to spoil it for myself. I'm just going to let it happen, because I try to do that now, because I used to always spoil these things, and I would know what was going to happen way beforehand, but no. We get to see the actress who played Lana Lang in Smallville be Supergirl's mother from Krypton. We got to just see a couple of flashbacks, not even flashbacks, dream sequences with Kara and her and actually Mon-El in a dream sequence. And I thought those are beautifully shot, those are beautifully done. And it's nice to see her come back, because we haven't seen too many people from Smallville in the Supergirl show. We've seen Lois and Clark, we've seen Hercules, A Legendary Journey in Smallville, I'm sorry, in Supergirl, but we haven't seen too many Smallville people in it. And it's great to see that she's come back to actually do the mother role. Even though I did like the actress who did it in the very first season. She did a very, very good job. And she played an evil twin too. But yeah, I really love the fact that. And another thing that I love is that this episode wasn't just about aliens. Every freaking thing from last season was about freaking aliens. I'm like, have her fight something else. She had one episode she fought the nanobots, but that kind of sucked in my opinion. But it did have the guy from iZombie, which you should watch that show. It's funny, but it's kind of a quirky show. You have to get into it. But if you watch Legends of Tomorrow, you can watch iZombie. And I guess his Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. days are over, or I'm not even too sure if he died in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I do watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You can see one of my prior videos, and I actually like that show a lot now. But the person who was in Heroes, who played the, the politician who could fly, brother of the person who's now in that TV show that everybody likes, whatever, I can't even remember the name of it on CBS. But I'm glad to see him on Supergirl, because he plays a good villain. He does a really good job of that. And he kind of brings that, lack of a better word, that solid villain nature to him whenever he's on the show. I like the fact that he's in Supergirl, and I hope that they'll continue with him a little bit more, even though the episode kind of finalized him a little bit, but I believe he's going to be out throughout the season. Also, just a little side note, Amy Mann, the last song, I didn't even have to look it up. I just heard her voice. I'm like, oh, I love Amy Mann. She's such a good artist. Okay, so that's my review of the Supergirl episode. I thought that they did a good job of it. It wasn't like last season where we got to see Superman, got to see all this action, we got to see all this big stuff happening. But they had to do that because they were coming off of season 1 where people were a little bit wavering on it. So all in all, this episode was a good episode of Supergirl. Can't wait to see what this season brings. Can't wait to see what Rain looks like when she finally goes full Rain mode. And hopefully we won't have alien after alien after alien story for the whole damn season. And hopefully they give her some original villains and some original problems. So until next time, if you want to check out my online comic book, like I said, I draw and write an online comic book. It's at Visions of the New, visionsofthenew.com. You can read the comic book there, you can flip through it and everything like that. You can even get the printed version. And until then, until next time, hit the button down below if you want to subscribe and see more videos and reviews and everything on